The onshore oil and gas industry has existed in the UK for over 150 years. In England, there are still over 250 operating wells, which can be found all over the country. Many of these wells have been around for decades and have blended into the landscape. Conventional drilling and extraction of crude oil is different to shale gas exploration. Conventional oil and gas extraction is where companies drill into oil-bearing reservoirs and extract a mixture of oil, water and gas, usually by a beam pump, often called a nodding donkey. Produced waters are separated from the crude oil mix and are normally re-injected into the same geological formation. Any gas produced is usually flared or used on site.
The Environment Agency is the environmental regulator for England. We regulate onshore oil and gas sites to ensure people and the environment are protected. We do this by issuing environmental permits. We carry out compliance assessments by inspecting sites, checking monitoring and reviewing operators' records and procedures. An application for an environmental permit has to be made to the Environment Agency. The application will include details of the planned operations, a location plan, risk assessments and a waste management plan. We use this information and our knowledge of the oil and gas industry and the local environment to determine if the proposed activities can take place safely. An operator must be able to demonstrate they can comply with all the conditions of the environmental permit. If they can do this, we will issue them with a permit. A copy of that permit is available to view on our public register. We've regulated the conventional onshore oil and gas industry for many years, and we're confident that our regulations protect people and the environment. We understand the practices used by industry and are experienced in the assessment and management of these risks. We regulate all aspects of the industry, from when the well is drilled, through to crude oil production, and finally the closure and decommissioning of the site. We work in partnership with other regulators, including the Health and Safety Executive and the Local Planning Authority. We regulate the storage and handling of crude oil, the management of wastes, for example drilling muds, and any naturally occurring radioactive material, also known as NORM. We ensure groundwater is protected and emissions to air are minimised.
Crude oil is transported to an oil refinery for further processing. The oil is refined into many different products such as petrol, diesel and heating oil. These oil refineries are also regulated by the Environment Agency. If there is sufficient gas, it may be used to generate power, exported to the national grid, or smaller quantities may be flared on site.
In order to protect groundwater, we require an impermeable membrane to be installed on site before drilling takes place. All tanks and containers used to store crude oil, produced waters and chemicals are surrounded by a bund to contain any leaks or spills. We can also require operators to monitor groundwater quality before, during and after drilling. We check monitoring results to make sure there is no adverse impact on groundwater.
If there is a spillage, the operator must notify the Environment Agency as required by the environmental permit. The operator must ensure the spill is cleared up and details recorded. Before we issue an environmental permit, operators must tell us how they will reduce, recycle, treat and dispose of all waste produced on site. A waste management plan is required as part of the permit application process. Any waste removed from site must be transferred to an authorised waste facility, also regulated by the Environment Agency. Records of all waste transfer must be kept by the operator.
As part of our role, we undertake announced and unannounced inspections and audits to ensure operators are compliant with their environmental permit. We also assess and review monitoring data. We regularly meet with the operators to discuss current and future operations. For some sites, we also hold local liaison meetings where we listen to public concerns and provide updates to residents. All our compliance assessment work is recorded in compliance assessment reports. These are available on our public register.
If for any reason there is a breach of a permit condition or any risk to people or the environment, then we assess the breach and have a number of enforcement actions available to us, including improvement or enforcement notices, prosecution and site closure.